Oh, it's great to be here. So Nick Wright, we'll get to this at the end of the interview, but his show now follows me as his mentor. It must be just the career arc for him must be splendid. He must be in a great mood. So let's go to the new set in New York. It looks fantastic. We'll get to that in a second. First things first is now after our show. Look at that.
Yeah,
Does that looks like... That has got a big old,
looks good.
City,
urban
hipster.
We're not all sitting on, an iron throne like you are, looking down upon the audience. But short of that, it's about as good as it gets. But, yeah, we can talk more about that at the end. I know you want to talk football, so let's do it.
All right, let's start with this. I like Buffalo to get to the Super Bowl, but there is a hole in this operation. The Rams are very good in close games, 7-1 last year, mostly because they're in a lot of close games in their division. Buffalo was 0-6 in close games. They melted down against the Jags, the Steelers, Tennessee. And I do think it's a hole that Kansas City has a history of coming from behind. That's why they're good at coming from behind. And that is the hole with Buffalo. In fact, they're favored by almost a field goal over the Rams in L.A., and I'm like, whoa. That is a lot to get my arms around.
Yeah, so you left out one other close game they lost. Of course, having a lead with 13 seconds left to go to the AFC Championship game and then letting Mahomes rip their heart out, and then they get the rules changed. The Chiefs, by the way, didn't get the rules changed when Brady did it to us 4 years ago in the same building. That's neither here nor there. So you focused on the point spread, Colin. This is one of the most baffling lines I can remember to start a season. I'm not saying Buffalo can't beat the Rams. Of course they can. But Buffalo being 2.5-point favorites in Los Angeles. That means if this game were in Buffalo, they'd be 8.5-point favorites. So what are the Bills going to be favored by when the Jets come to town? 17.5? 18 points? I think the general public right now is a little skewed, and it sounds like you are as well if you're picking them to go to the Super Bowl, by how they ended the year, blowing the doors off the Patriots and then looking great offensively against the Chiefs. They had all that talent throughout the year, and yet by round 2 of the playoffs, they were on the road with a softer schedule last year than they have this year. Why? Because they do have some question marks, and Allen, as high as the ceiling is, and he's unbelievable talent-wise, and I was wrong on him, he still has some games where it's like, you guys did lose to the Jags, didn't you?
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the year, the other reason I don't understand the line for week 1, Colin, is the Rams are going to be throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp, and Trey White is out the first month at least. So this is a head-scratching line. I think the Bills are going to be really, really good, but overwhelming Super Bowl favorites, I don't buy.
Listen, I could be totally wrong on this. I don't think I am. But I said to start my show, okay, you cannot call Russell Wilson great, but there's not 60 players better in the league. Cordell Stewart and Chad Pennington have been given several MVP votes. He's never gotten one. And Pete Carroll was fired twice, 14 and 18. He arrives, and for 6 years, they beat the brakes off everybody. He's got talent. He may not be Mahomes the thrower, Allen the physical dimension, whatever. But can we acknowledge this? He's probably the most disrespected quarterback in the game.
Well, he sets himself. Listen, I used to be with you on this. Because when you and I first got to know each other, Colin, that was back when I was trying to convince you Russell Wilson was better than your beloved son, Andrew Luck. Oh, we forget about those times. Colin loved him some Andrew Luck. Oh, my goodness. Do you think the way he looks into the eyes of Justin Herbert and Josh Allen is how he used to look at Andrew Luck. But that's neither here nor there. Colin, he does some of this stuff to himself. He really, really promotes and publicizes himself in a way that makes himself maybe a bit of a target. And when he signs one of the richest contracts in NFL history, weeks after buying, quite literally, the most expensive home in Denver's history, and then tries to give us the Mike Hampton, I did it for the school districts. I did this because, I'm about winning multiple Super Bowls. Like, come on, buddy. I'm happy you got your money, but you know why you wanted the $49 million a year? Because it's $49 million a year. And so I think all of that combined with the fact that you're right, his career started amazing, but it's also true he has won one playoff game in the last 5 years. Peyton Manning was unbelievable once upon a time, too. Peyton Manning's been to a Super Bowl more recently than Russell Wilson. Cam Newton has, Nick Foles has, Matt Ryan has. It's been a long time since Russell Wilson was a guaranteed difference maker come the postseason. So I guess maybe I'm proving you right, because I guess I'm disrespecting Mr. Somewhat Limited a bit. But I do think he has a nice, catchy, new catchphrase with the, what is it? Well, it's not Go Hawks anymore. Let's ride. That's what it is.
Let's ride.
How big was the focus group on that, Colin, you think? Did they bring in outside consultants? Was it just Sierra's marketing team? I'm not sure.
Don't ever scoff at Sierra. You can take your shots at Russell.
Yeah, listen, I know. Colin Cowherd once upon a time was in a party where Sierra was, and he was so struck by her from across the room, he will never get over it. You'll never get over it.
I believe me, I'm acknowledging that. J-Mac and I were talking about this, is that I'm not like Skip obviously loves the Cowboys. I'm not pro-Dallas, anti-Dallas. I do think they've become the Lakers where, if you're not a friend of Jeannie Buss or somehow tied to the Lakers, they won't let you in the door in the front office. And I think the Cowboys need a new set of eyes, a fresh set of eyes. I haven't liked their last two drafts. I think they waited too long on Dak's contract and spent too much money on Zeke too quickly. Jerry's still doing local radio hits. I think they're too insular. And I look at this team, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Matt Mosey, last night, and he said, this is the first time Dak will play behind a bad O-line. When Tyron Smith is out, outside of Zach Martin, they don't have a lot of starters on that O-line for top teams. What do you think it looks like this year?
I think this could be the worst year they've had since Dak's been there, when Dak's been healthy. Throughout the year, Dak broke his leg, obviously. I'm really concerned about exactly what you said. It's one thing to have a below-average offensive line. A lot of quarterbacks do, and they overcome it. It's another thing to have a below-average offensive line when you've never been taught how to deal with that. Dak has gone from the best offensive line in football to a very good offensive line to all of a sudden this year, until Tyron Smith gets back, I think you nailed it. Aside from Zach Martin, who is it that you're like, oh yeah, pencil him in for having a great season? You don't have it. I think they're starting the wrong running back. I think Dak has one right now, until Gallup gets healthy, one receiver he trusts. And when you remember the last time he had a substandard receiving core, that was the year they had to trade for Amari Cooper, and that kind of saved their season.
Right.
All of that concerns me. You then add to the fact that last year they were the most penalized team in football, and then they lost a playoff game because they had 14 penalties and ran one of the most boneheaded end-of-game plays we've ever seen, and that guy is still the head coach. I don't necessarily buy the hype of the Eagles being a Super Bowl team, but I absolutely buy that, I wasn't on this 3 months ago, but I am now, that the Eagles can win the division, and I think Dallas has a real chance at an under 500 year.
Yeah.
I don't think Washington or the Giants are going to be good, but I don't think they're automatic wins anymore. So I think you have a slightly tougher schedule. You won the division last year, so you have the division winning schedule. You have all of that. And Tyron Smith and Ryan Jensen, the center from Tampa, those are the two biggest injuries this offseason by a mile.
Yeah.
And I think they significantly hamper both of those teams' abilities to do what their fans hope they do.
All right, so Nick's show, Nick, Chris Broussard, Kevin Wildes, are going to be after our show going forward, which is awesome for me. Nick is somebody I care deeply about and have known for a long time. So their show, we will push you hopefully into their show. They've got a snazzy new set. And now, used to the morning show, which I got to be honest, I heard about 12 minutes a day driving to work. You were on very early. And if you have not heard it, folks, the chemistry between these guys is outstanding. Wildes was a stand-up comedian. It's great. So the set looks amazing, too, as well.
Well, listen, let me say a couple things. I'll take 60 seconds here and then give your show back. You said something at the beginning, which is me following you and how special it is to me. And you were being kind of joking, but you also know it's true. So I'm going to tell America something. 5.5 years ago, I had been working for FS1 for about 9 months, and they hired me to work with Colin in some capacity, didn't exactly know what capacity. And then they offered me this show in New York City. And hand to God, Colin can attest to this, I was going to turn it down. I was scared. I was like, I don't know. I don't know anyone in New York. I don't know about this. And Colin took me to lunch and in not so many words said, are you out of your bleeping mind? They want you to front a television show. You should probably go do it. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like being your sidekick, buddy. Seems fun. This is what they hired me to do. So he pushed me and was correct. At that same time, when I got hired, they hired Joy Taylor. And Colin took us both in different ways under his wing. and to see Joy go from sitting across him at the desk to now being one of the co-hosts of the show after me, and for me now to be able to take the baton on FS1 from a guy who really, truly was my professional idol until I met him. And everyone says, and I apologize for doing this to you, Colin, don't meet your heroes. And that's usually true. But if they kick ass and they're kind and they invite you to your home, definitely meet them. And so, Colin, being able to do this and you and I potentially be able to talk at the end of your show every day or quite a bit, I'm so excited. The show's going to be great, and for the LA audience, the Lakers fans that love me and the Warriors fans that hate me, now you can finally see the show because it's not on so early in the morning. So I'm excited for all of it, and it's an honor to be able to follow you on the network.
Well,
you know how I feel about you,
well,
brother.
you and Joy are both unbelievable talents, and that's why the shows have succeeded. And you can see that behind. He's in New York. Watch the show, full of energy, big laughs, and I find you occasionally annoying, but that's why I love you, is that you drive me nuts, you take shots at me, and I think it's a riot, and watch the show. It's First Things First, which is now in the afternoons, and congrats, buddy.
You're the best, Colin. I love you, and congrats to J-Mac. You're the best. I love you guys.
All right. Good stuff. So we have a whole new lineup today. Craig Carton is a wildly popular, talented guy out of New York. I think New York's most talented radio performer is now doing the morning show at our network. In to Skip, us, these guys I just told you about, then Joy, Acho are after them. All new look today, FS1. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.